right, folks, it's Monday, and yes, Vic, the sound is working. I hope. Vic put in a comment, let's see if the sound is working tonight. So let's wait a few seconds and see if the sound is working. We have a bit of a delay from the time we go live. But anyways, welcome on board. It's Monday night. Last couple of times we had some issues. We think we fixed it. We'll see what happens, but welcome. It's live Q&A, so any questions you have about drones, put them in the comments. It looks like I'm not buffering, which is nice. And we'll answer them. Jason is in the back room picking up all your questions, and we have the rest of the team back there making sure everything is good. So yeah, what's going on? It's Monday, October 6th. Any meaning to this date? Anyone? Yes, it is the last day that you can submit your comment for part 108. If you have not done so, you have until midnight, well, 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, which is in a few hours, to do that. So go ahead and submit. I saw there was some movement over the weekend. The comments were not updating. And so you might notice that our comment actually is in there twice, because on Friday afternoon I submitted it. And then on Saturday morning I was looking for it and it was not there. So I submitted it again just in case, only to find out that there was some backlogging of stuff. But yeah, they had quite a few new comments today. Let me see where we're at right now. I have the page live right here. 784 comments today, which is awesome. We're at 2,700 comments so far. I think more people are going to do it. I was looking for Pilot Institute in the comments earlier, and there were over 40 people that mentioned Pilot Institute, which is really exciting in their comments. We have, 39 people. 11 of them today mentioned Pilot Institute. So congratulations. Thank you for doing that. The coalition comment has been getting a lot of feedback as well. I see if you type coalition in the thing, it's that's the first term that comes up is coalition of commercial and recreational UAS pilots. That's us, the group that we put together. We kind of came up with that name. Maybe we'll stick around with that name, the CCR, and keep going. There were 19 people that mentioned the comment. So it's exciting. I think we hopefully got a bunch of people to submit comments. We need more, obviously, as many as we can. But from here, as of tonight, it's out of our hands. It's in the FA's hands, at least when they get back to work. If they get back to work, when and if the government reopens, they will have a whole bunch of comments to go through and then hopefully make some changes. I hope they do make changes. I hope it's not published as it is. I doubt it will be, but please don't prove me wrong, FA. And then I think in 6 to 9 months to a year, maybe we'll see final ruling. My guess is Q3 of next year. We will see final ruling on this, and hopefully something that works for the majority of folks out there. The 99% is who our comment is targeting. We're trying to make sure that we can fly BVLOS non-autonomously out there, and hopefully, like I said, our proposal works for that. All right, enough blah blah. Who else do we have? Let's say hi to a bunch of people maybe, and then we can get started. So let's see, we have Dave DeVore, we have Richard Hooker, Eric Refschneider is here, Alexander Blankenship, all familiar names. Ray Kelly, what's up, Ray? Gamer Jack, we have Luke, Curtis Warren, Mike Dressing, Giggles FPV, that's awesome. Mike Dressing, I said that already. Jason Williams is here. We have Engineer Drone Services, that's our friend Minot. Northern Drone Guy, longtime follower, Bill Graham. We have Glenn Gill, all familiar name, Leo de Cardenas. Cardenas is here. We have Jim Schlusserman, retired fire chief, Steve A., Don Mason, Darren Barth, Just Johnny 2012, Joseph Bellero, Mark Saxon. We have, who else? Flying Brian, BEM 1962, After As Media, Doc Holliday. Our good old friend Vic is here, not late. We have Joshua Kamin, Drone Eagle, Jeff Hannon, Burba FPV, Cloud Camper, Onokine Media from Hawaii, awesome. Lawrence is here, Aussie Flyer, who else? Cover and Tech, Hike and Fly. Bunch of folk. Cliff is here, Stinker 337. Who else have I not mentioned? Embrace the Adventure is here. Jason Reynolds, Moonshot, First Medic. Our good old friend James Van Boeven is here. Mark Saxon. Jay Gilormini is here. Ronald. We have John, Timothy. I think I'm getting to the end. Chronic Photography Syndrome is here as well. And L is here. Just the letter L. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, let's get to the questions, maybe. I'm so excited because Pod 108 is done. It's a big project behind us. It's been a 2-month project, spending a lot of hours on this damn thing. A lot of podcasts, a lot of meetings that we did at trade shows and this and that. So I'm excited to see that project behind us. I finished another big project last week and then another big project. So I'm kind of excited. I'm down to about 3 big projects right now on my list. But all those projects are actually related to the manned aircraft side. So there'll be more things coming up on that side. We have our dispatch course is supposed to be in person in a couple of weeks if the government doesn't shut down by that time. And then we have what else? Yeah, we have a bunch of cool stuff in the pipeline. So I'm pretty pumped. And then no more traveling except for one trip in Vegas, which is not really all that far, which means that I'm going to be focused in the office. Pumped. Okay. Let's get to it. First question is from Bill. Bill says, with all the tasks about what we can't do with our DJI product after December 20th, will we be able to register a new aircraft? There's really nothing that you will not be able to do with your DJI product after December 20th. Let's make this very clear. Okay? December 23rd, I think, is the date. After December 23rd, it does not change anything to how you currently operate your DJI drone. Nothing. It's still going to be registered. You're still going to be able to fly it. It's still going to be flying, okay? The only thing you will not be able to do is fly a new model of DJI that has not yet been approved by the FCC. That doesn't even include the Mini 5 Pro. It's already been approved by the FCC. That doesn't include the Mavic 4 Pro. That's already been approved. Whatever model has not yet been approved by the FCC, if this proposal goes through, that will not be approved by the FCC in the future. You will not be able to fly it technically in the United States. Although I would like to know how they're going to be checking on that. If somebody goes and buys the Mini 6 and the Mini 7 outside the country and it's not approved by the FCC, I would like to know how they're going to enforce that. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the list. And even then, it doesn't say that you can't register it on the FAA website because the FAA is not the FCC. So, and they're not asking for FCC approval on the FAA stuff. So you could just register that aircraft as a homemade aircraft. You'll be fine. Anyways, Minut says, I finally had a few minutes to finish some of my wings courses. Thanks for producing and providing your ADM presentation to the FAA program. You're very welcome. It's called 10 Decision Making Concepts for UAS Pilots. It's a very popular course, actually, on FAA safety. We've issued tens of thousands of wings credits since we started doing that a couple years ago. And yeah, we run them every single day. Every day we run a batch of about 10 or 15 different people that have taken the classes online. So I would not be surprised if by now we are the largest provider of wing credits in the country. I would not be surprised one bit. Retired Fire Chief says, good evening. I have a waiver coming due in December. Okay. Will I have to fill out a new waiver or will there be a way to extend it? There is a way to extend it. So when you go on the FAA website, there is a place where you can do that directly on the thing. If you want to email us, Jason can send you more information on how to do that specifically. I don't have it in front of my head, of my eyes right now, so I don't. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Joseph says, I have tried to tweak the yaw and the roll on my Mini 3, but still gets slip drift. It is most noticeable when executing circle or turns. I fly FPV, so I can manage, but does it have stability? I don't know what you're talking about as far as tweaking those. It's all about how you fly the airplane in this case. I mean, the doing circles and turns, you have to apply. It's not an FPV drone, so it's going to fly completely different than an FPV drone. So you have to keep that in mind. But there's no, yeah, there should be no slip or drift. It's all about how you control the drone. Duck Holiday says, let me see, what are the best mapping programs for motor vehicle accident investigations? I mean, it's not like one is better than the other necessarily. They're all going to do kind of the same job, but Pix4D has a module specific to that. Pix4D Maddox. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's on their website. You'll see it. And then you should look at Skybrowse as well as another option. They're designed specifically for accident investigations as well. Not specifically, but used a lot for that. They use two different methods. Pix4D uses photogrammetry. Skybrowse uses videogrammetry, which is using the video file instead of a bunch of photos. But yeah, give it a shot. I think I don't know about Pix4D, but Skybrowse has a free trial that you can do. Woo! Next, Leo says KCOF airspace. It states airspace class D, service from 1300 to 0500 Zulu, Monday through Friday. Okay. Saturday and Sunday is closed. Holiday closed. Airfield is closed the third Friday of the month. Other time class Golf. Okay. Is authorization not required when Golf is in effect? That is correct. When it's in class Golf, it's just an uncontrolled airport. Keep in mind, very important, because it is a class Golf airport and because the tower is closed, does not mean that the airport is closed, and it doesn't mean that airplanes are not going to be and helicopters are not going to be flying at that airport. Okay, there will still be traffic even if it's a class Golf, meaning that it's not a free-for-all. You still have to give way to all of these aircraft as they fly there. Okay, but no, you don't need any of that. Okay. Next, Jason Reynolds says, my question is, if new DJI drones are on the FCC covered list, can they still produce current models that are already FCC approved? Okay, keep in mind, the drone is not on the covered list. DJI is on the covered list. So DJI being on the FCC covered list means that future approval of drones does not happen. So they still have approval for the old models. That's where I'm at. Okay. Next, Mark says, what's the detail on Ohio trying to ban foreign drones? Will it be all current and future drones? That's for, let's make sure that we are clear here. This would be for public safety. Well, this would be for drones how am I going to say that? This is not for civilian drones. Okay, so if you have a civilian drone and you're in Ohio and you're worried about this, it would not affect you. It would affect state programs, and it would affect state programs. Okay, so in this case, you would. What Ohio is trying to do is what Florida has done in a bunch of other states, which is essentially to stop using drones made in China. And so if you're a public safety agency, if you're a university program, a state university program, you would actually be affected by this, because it would prevent them from flying, period, starting when the day this thing is signed, which is really, really bad. Of course, AUVSI, the sneaky, you fill in the blank, are behind this, even though for years they tried to tell us we are not for a DJI ban that is immediate, and then all of a sudden, look at that, they are. What changed? money. But yeah, for years they told us, no, 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 we're not pro ban of DJI tomorrow. There needs to be a period of time, blah blah blah. And then, clear as day, they came up with this thing where they said, yeah, we're in favor of this specific bill, which is banning the drones as soon as the document is signed. So yeah, I wish we could pixelate my finger as I hold it in front of my face to all the AUVSI folks, but we can't pixelize live, unfortunately. So, yeah, yeah, they will be remembered as the organization, if you want to even call it that, that will put people's life at risk that are in public safety, and that will screw many recreational operators and commercial operators and everything else. So if you're from AVUVSI and you're watching this, congratulations. You should be very proud of yourself. All right. L says on the M5P, that would be the Mini 5 Pro, I'm guessing. If you purchase outside of the US, will we be able to get DJI Fly app and firmware updates? Yeah, there's no reason why you wouldn't. That's just part of the drone itself. Next up, Donald says, I purchased another drone with a remote ID. Okay. Can you point me to the instruction again to register part 107? Last time I ended up paying $10 somehow, and I thought it was only $5. Yeah, $5. It's on it's on the Jason will probably put a link in the description here in the comments, but it's the FAA drone zone is where you want to go. If you don't see a .gov at the end of the address right there, you're in the wrong spot. So make sure that you do that. And if they try to charge you more than $5, unless you're registering more than one drone, I have never seen it at $10 only. Typically, it's like $50 or $60 when they try to scam you. But no, $10. I haven't heard that one yet, but we'll see. Adventure with Joe Mayo says, Air Aware Aloft shows Nevada State Park as restricted airspace and notes that if flying from the outside into the park, you must stay 250 feet AGL. I would love to see a screenshot of that. If you could send us a screenshot, contact at pilotinstitute.com. We'll take a look at that. That does not sound right. They would not be able to put restrictions like that. Unless the Grand Canyon is the only park that I know of that has a special type of flight rules, but it's the Grand Canyon. But yeah, I'd like to see more details on that. Lou says, do you think if the ban goes through, we will still be able to buy already FCC drone from South Korea and or Canada? Yeah. Again, the current proposed ban for that has to do with the NDAA, the 2024 NDAA, that would put DJI on the FCC list. That does not affect the sale of aircraft in the United States. The issue right now where you cannot find a DJI drone is because of a separate issue from a separate branch of the government that is unrelated to the FCC. So if you can still procure yourself a drone that has been FCC approved, then you should still be able to fly it without any issues. Chris says, I want to go for my part 107, but I work a lot during the day. How much time is needed per day with the course? Would I need to set aside, and how long? You can go at your own pace, but we have a program in there that's 1 hour a day for 14 days, although it probably will take you a little bit more than that. But if you do 1 hour a day for 3 weeks, you should, with a little bit of breaks here and there, you should definitely be good to go. So that's the answer right there. And you can study anytime you want. The videos are very short. They're like 5 to 10 minutes. We designed it specifically for that reason, because we want to make sure that if you only want to do 5 minutes, you can just do 5 minutes. If you're in the bus on the way to work or in the train or whatever it is in transport, you can do that. If you're stuck at a red light for 5 minutes, then it's a very long red light. Then you can also do that. Don't do that, but you get the idea. If you're on the crapper for 5 minutes instead of doom scrolling, then you should be watching me while you poop. Anyways, AvGeek says, how should I handle using only one beacon in twilight? Keep it white or flash white, green, and red? Just one. Everybody only has one, really. I mean, most people only have one. You only need one. I would keep it white because it flashes further based on our testing, and it's visible from further. And I would just do that. What do you think the chances are that DJI is or soon will be dead in the US as far as new product releases? I don't know. If you had to ask me that like a month ago, I would have said, I don't think we're going to see DJI models in the US in the future. But I don't think we've seen the last of DJI fighting this. I predict that they are going to flood the market with hundreds of brands, maybe not hundreds, but dozens of brands. And I have nothing to back this up other than a few articles that we've read in the last couple of weeks. They're going to flood the market with no-name brands of their current drones and give all these people, in quotation mark, a hard time that are trying to ban them from the country. So we'll see. You may not buy a DJI drone. You may buy a DIJ drone or a GDI drone or any other brand name that they come up with, and be able to fly it. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. But I don't think this is the end of over $1 billion company. I don't think they're going to give in that easily. So we'll see. Yep, shell companies, people are saying in the comments. I think we'll see. I think on the legislative side, it's going to be much more difficult to fight this, but I think they're going to be crafty. A friend of mine is convinced that a neighbor of his is intentionally using their drone to look into their backyard. He talked to the local police, but the only thing that they told him was to document. Yeah, that's a tough situation because technically your backyard is not, and I know it's going to sound weird, but it's not an area where privacy is expected. There's no expectation of privacy in your backyard, unfortunately. It's dumb. People should not be flying their drone and going, to spy on other people or look at other people and what they're doing. If you have a backyard that's fenced in, then that should be your own property where you can do whatever you want. But the reality is that's kind of not how the laws are written. So inside your house, yes, you have an expectation of privacy, but outside, unfortunately, you don't. So I would say what I always say, right? Don't be that guy. Don't go flying in over people's backyard because it's not a cool thing to do. As far as recourse, document it and make it look like they're documented so that if they're looking inside of your house, then it is absolutely legal. There are peeping Tom laws everywhere, as there should be, and then get them caught that way. It sucks. It's not a good feeling for sure. Is there a flotation device that you recommend for water operation just in case? I do not. Flotation devices are tough on most drones because they're pretty bulky usually. I think they kind of affect the performance of the drone. And then the chances of your drone actually going in the water are fairly low if you're flying safely, So I don't know. I don't know that I would really worry about it. We fly over water quite a bit because we have a beautiful lake around here that we fly around all the time, and I'm never too worried about landing in there because we don't fly that close to the water. And if the battery fails in flight or the motors fail in flight and it falls in the water, I don't know that the flotation device is going to change a lot of that. So, yeah. The Truth Guy says, hello, Tim. Who's Tim? I'm Greg. But what would you prefer, a Mini 5 Pro or Mini 4 Pro? I already have an Air 3S, an Air 2S, a Neo Nevada, and for future DJI ban and proof. I'm going to sound like your wife, but you probably don't need another drone. I would definitely go with the 5 Pro, if anything, to kind of have a supplement to your Air 3S. But I don't know that the 5 Pro is going to do much more than the yeah, I don't know that the 4 is going to do much more than your 3S. The 5 Pro is going to be a good supplement to the 3S, but the Air 3S is definitely a good one. If you want another drone, I would definitely do the Mini 5 Pro if you can find one in the United States. So, speaking the mic, Matt keeps saying that the sound is not high enough. I recommend that you up the sound on your side because we don't have any other complaints. So I am speaking in the mic. I cannot speak any more in the mic. So if there's sound issues, it's likely coming on your side. Check that. The Truth Guy says, no, I just read that. He was talking to Tim. Okay, next up, Mike Dressing says cities often collect metadata from vehicular traffic with companies like Flock Safety, and the public thinks that their privacy is at risk. What do you think are the pros and cons with remote ID data collection? Well, remote ID data collection is very different from the other thing that you're talking about with Flock. Flock is collecting, driver's license plate, for example, or even possibly maybe even facial stuff, which is, I don't know if it's considered a PII, that's a technical term, a personal identifiable information. But I think a license plate would be because it can be tracked down to a specific person down the road. But the data that you get from remote ID is mostly just a registration number, and it's, how can I say this? It's not good, okay? The remote ID data that's collected is not good, don't get me wrong. But it's not the same as somebody's like car being monitored pretty much everywhere you go at any time, or somebody's face, everywhere you go at any time. It's not great. It's not great. And maybe there should not be a level of how bad collecting personal data is. But also, only the FAA at this point has access to the registration data, not the general public. Again, not that it excuses anything. So yeah, I don't know. Thinking about it, it's probably not a great thing. I'd be more worried about the other thing that these companies are collecting, like again, car information and all of that. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great being spied on. Is the volume really low or not?
We can adjust it. There's two options. We can bump up the volume a little bit and risk peaking, or we can do a reset, which will change the visuals really quick, and we can change them back.
Okay. Whatever. Okay, with all of the drone footage I see on YouTube, especially on fishing videos, interesting. How does the FAA verify that the pilot is Part 107? The FAA doesn't do that usually. The FAA doesn't get involved until something goes down to crap. Okay, if you're gonna hit someone and then they come and find out that you were flying with what needed to be on Part 107 and you don't have one, then you're going to get in trouble. But the FAA doesn't usually go around finding, what people is doing. People are saying the volume is fine. So Ecotone says, so suppose the DJI, the great DJI, gets canned. Okay. Can you tell me what is next? There's always a next. Well, I think I talked about what is next. What's next is, I think you're going to continue to be able to find these drones under a different name somewhere in the country, or maybe even possibly somebody competes with DJI and gives us another drone that we can purchase, which would be freaking awesome. Something, somewhat comparable in price, that has awesome features, that flies well, that's reliable, and all of that thing, all that jazz. Let's do it. Let's get competition for DJI. Let's do it. That would be awesome. But yeah, otherwise, what are the other options? Well, the other option is we wait for someone to compete with DJI if you can get those in here. But again, people are going to get crafty, okay? What happened when the US prohibited alcohol years ago? Did people stop drinking? Right? Nope. People did not stop drinking. We have a prohibition on age on drinking, right? Is there no underage drinking in this country? No. Okay. So there will be, people will get crafty. Bearded Brigade says, do you have any other apps for airspace? I use Aloft, but it does not say what type of airspace any specific airports are. You don't really need that information, quite frankly. I mean, they do tell you. If you click on the details, you should be able to see what each block is in. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. If it shows in there, it means you need to get approval. Then you get approval. That's the way that they can look at it. Speakeasy Drone Company. I like that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Chris says, also, I flew the Mavic, the Mini. When you guys write M5P, it's the Mini 5 Pro this weekend, and I have the Plus combo with the extended battery. Awesome. How do you know if you are transmitting remote ID? If you tap on like the middle of the screen on the top, there's a little like status area. If you tap on that, it should pop up a new window in the DJI Fly app, and then it should tell you right here that it's transmitting remote ID. Yep, that's the only place I can think of. Next question. Michael says, which drone other than DJI do you recommend for beginner for photography? That's the thing, is there's not really a whole lot of options out there that are providing good quality photos for photography. For the average person, that's going to be it. So I don't know if anybody else has other recommendations, but next question, same thing. Is there anything that's equal or comparable to DJI? The answer is no. No, not for the average user. Does that mean that we will be seeing a Pilot Institute brand drone? No, that's outside the scope of what we do. We provide education. We don't manufacture devices, unfortunately. Maybe, fortunately, I don't know, but not a whole lot of interest in doing that, unfortunately. Lul Kama says, just call me Lewis. Okay, awesome, Lewis. Do you have a course dedicated to photography for hobbyists only? I mean, we have a course dedicated to photography. It applies to anyone and everyone. It's going to give you all the basics of photography. Vic, who's actually in here, teaches a portion of the course. I teach the other portion, telling you about, all the basic things that you need to know about photography. Yeah, it applies to really everyone. RJ Redding says, are recreational only flyers limited to flying only sub 250 drones, or can they go over as long as they are registered? Yeah, you can go over as long as it's registered. You got it right. So if the drone is over 0.55 pounds is the technical weight, then it should be registered, and then you'll be able to fly it. Mac Shaky FPV says, if a drone flies in a national park and the government is shut down, is there anyone to enforce the laws? Keep in mind that government workers are still working even when the government is shut down. They're just not getting paid at the moment. They'll be paid after shutdown stops. But yeah, no, there's still a lot of people that are working, that work for the government, and the national parks, I think, are closed. At least I saw today that some of them are closed. Most of them are closed. If they're not closed, I can tell you that there are people that are working, and so it should not be a reason to go and fly the drone in the government in the national park. But that's just my 2 cents. Next, no more question. Okay, we've answered all of those so far. So put your questions in the comments. We'll go through them. I'm going to read a couple of the comments right there. I see the Atom 2 is good. Sky Rover X1 is pretty much the same as DJI drone. Yep, absolutely. The Sky Rover is the reason why I think we will continue to see DJI drones that are not DJI drones but are still DJI drones, because they're just going to show up as a different name. So if you want a Mini 4 right now, the Sky Rover X1 is a good Mini 4 available. Has anyone used the drone detector app? I have a 5 Pro and it doesn't show. If you have a 5 Pro and you have the small battery, it's normal that it doesn't show because it doesn't transmit remote ID. So that would be the reason. Have you seen the video for the Avata 3? I have not seen the video for the Avata 3. I don't think there is a video for unless somebody leaked the Avata 3. I don't think so. Do you recommend a recreational drone to register the Mini 5 Pro due to the weight issue? That's a good question. Um, that's a good question. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that because so if you haven't followed, the Mini 5 Pro is right at the weight limit, and I as a general rule, I like to tell people to do things the right way because I think we owe it to people to tell them to follow the rules because I think that's important. Um, so is the drone technically over the weight limit? Yes, technically it is. 0.55 pounds is the actual limit, and that's 249.4, I think, grams technically. So anything over that would technically not be 0.55 pounds or less. So you would you would need to register the drone. Now, I also like to think of the intent of the law, right? The intent of the law is, small drones, 250 grams or near that weight, at that weight, um, don't need to be registered. I don't understand the big deal about registering the drone, but maybe I'm a sheep. I don't know. Um, I would just register it. It doesn't really it. Chances are you already have another drone that's registered. It just means you need to put a little sticker on it, and then a module if you have one hanging around. Just put a module on top for remote ID, and then you're all set. So yeah, I don't know. That 250-gram thing, is the FA going to be walking around with a scale going to people and saying, put your drone on the scale, it's over 250-gram drones, you don't have it registered? No, they're not going to do that. They don't care. They really don't care about this. And so yeah, if you want to follow the letter of the law, you should register it, I think. um, yeah, I don't know. I'm very torn on this thing. I'm very torn on this. So I don't know what my recommendation would be really for this. Um, but yeah, register it, do the right thing, just so that you don't have to even think about it. Less liability, and it's only $5 for 3 years and a remote ID module that you probably already have. Eric says, I have yet to find someone flying recreationally that know that they need to complete trust. Yeah, there has got to be a better way to get the word out. Literature in the drone package would be a good start. Don't even get me started on that, Eric. This has been a battle that we've been fighting since we started this business, which is to get paperwork inside the box. And it's actually an FAA requirement. A lot of people don't know that, but if you go to the FAA website, they have a place where they have a kit that aircraft manufacturers can print and have to put inside of the box of every drone that they sell in the United States. It's just not enforced at the moment. It came out of a reauthorization act of I don't know what year, but yeah, it's clearly on their website. It's clearly posted that it has to be done. And again, it's not being enforced. So I agree with you, Eric, that it would go a long ways, I think, of telling people when we get a DJI drone, there's always CAA document for the UK, and there's another one for Australia, I think, as well, in there that tells that you have to follow the rules, and here's a quick way to do it. All it would need to do is send them to the free education on trust. That's it. That's all that we need to happen. Years ago, I talked to Autel. I talked to Autel on the back end, and I said, "Hey, we would love to actually sponsor this program, and we will pay for the stickers, and we will put a link to the trust certificate in on our website, which we provide for free. We don't make any money off of that. We provide it for free. I would have paid for the stickers to put them in there." And the answer was, what's in it for us? Literally, that's what they told us. And so I even have somewhere, I can find it on my computer, I have the draft of the document that we sent them. And they basically said, not going to do that. So, anyways, disappointing, to say the least. Disappointing. A Tort Ariel says in Chicago with the National Guard here, there's a TFR in place for 2 weeks. Say someone came into the city not knowing there was a TFR and flew, what really would happen? Well, I mean, coming from out of the city and flying in there is no excuse. Anywhere you go fly, you should be checking for TFRs. What would happen is that if somebody detects the drone and finds you, then they're going to probably confiscate the drone, and you're flying in a TFR, so they're going to be checking that you're Part 107, and if you're not, they're probably going to give you a fine. Those things I would I would not test flying inside of a TFR. Not right now. Not right now. I can tell you that. How much do they charge for the matrice? Well, there's a whole bunch of different matrices. There is a matrice 4, matrice 30, matrice 300, 400, 350, a whole lot of different models. So the price changes from like 8 grand all the way to, depending on the equipment you get, like 40 grand. Pick your poison. Next, there is an old military base that has been used since a month ago, that has been used for 6 months, and there is a no-fly zone in the drone forecast app in yellow. What is the distance that I have to maintain away from here? I mean, whatever the zone is, typically is the zone. So there's no distance from the zone. You just cannot enter the zone, if that answers the question. What is the significance of the 250-gram limit? As far as regulation, 250 really only means that you don't have to register your drone if it's flown recreationally, and that you don't need remote ID. That's the only difference. Can I disable my remote ID on my DJI drone? No, you cannot. Nope, you can't. What's the downside of registering the drone? I don't know. Like I said, I mentioned that earlier. I don't really see, other than you not wanting the FAA to know that you own a drone. That's the only thing. When will FAA stickers be available again? FAA stickers are available. They have not been not available. So free, that pilotinstitute.com/free is where you want to go. Or if you're getting, I guess maybe what you're doing is you're requesting a second set of stickers, you have to email us directly. We don't allow a second set directly on the website. Kenny Scott says, I love my Mini 4 Pro, but I recently flew a Mavic 3 with the X28 zoom and fell in love with it. X28? What's the X28 zoom? Anyways, is the Mavic 3 still available? If not, what other drones would you recommend? The Mavic 3 is still available, not on the DJI website directly, but you can probably find a used one somewhere. That's what I would do. Somebody says, follow up, and why 250 grams and not heavier? There was a reason for it. I was on a podcast one time interviewing someone, and they mentioned the reason for 250 gram. It has to do with like the kinetic energy impact of such an object, and I think it actually goes back like all the way to NASA regulation. There is like something about 250 grams, and yep, sure enough, we inherited of this. But a lot of countries are using that number as well. Flying Brian says, do you think DJI would ever consider opening a manufacturing plant in the United States so that they can mark their product made in the US? See, that's not really the issue at stake here. The problem is that the anti-DJI folks are saying that DJI is stealing your data because DJI is owned by the US government, the Chinese government. And so that's the excuse that they're giving you for wanting to ban DJI. Manufacturing the drone in the United States doesn't change the fact that DJI is a Chinese company. That's their fault. Their fault is that they're a DJI, they're a Chinese company, Chinese owned company. And so other than the company being sold to an American person and being run in the US, there's no it's not going to change. Manufacturing the aircraft in the US is not going to change the rhetoric that DJI is a Chinese company. That's my take on that at the very least. Vic says 250 gram, 2 sticks of butter. Yeah, or 250 grams, like the rest of the world would know what 250 gram is. Jason Reynolds says, do you think DJI will be able to uphold the care refresh agreement already in place? I know that they have canceled new plans, but what are your thoughts on the existing care plan? I think it's going to be difficult for them until they figure out this issue with the CBP, the Custom Border Patrol restriction. So at the moment, they have a difficulty bringing aircraft into the United States, and as such, the care refresh thing is difficult. I think the only way they could get around this is having a repair shop in the United States where they would send parts individually to those repair shops, and then all the stuff would be done inside the US. But at one point there are some things that you just can't fix anymore, so I don't know how you would do that. By the way, going back to the manufacturing of aircraft in the US, that certainly would be an option if they wanted to not have an issue with CBP. It would still be a Chinese company on potentially the FCC list, which would make it impossible for them to get their new drones approved. So, yeah, tough one. Does Pilot Institute offer Transport Canada course for US pilots who want to fly in Canada? We do not. It's something that we looked at a long time ago, but just never, unfortunately, didn't have at the time the manpower to do it. But no, we don't. But I'm sure there's other people out there that offer that. If I fly at a car club meeting in a parking lot under Part 107, what constitute getting all those involved to be part of the mission so that I can fly over everyone with non-category drone? You cannot do that. So the FAA is very clear as to who is part of the mission. You cannot have bystanders be part of the mission. The only thing you can do is get a waiver to fly over people with a non-categorized drone. So if you have a drone that's under 400 grams, I don't remember what that is in pounds, but 0.88 pounds? No. Anyways, 400 grams. Yeah, 0.8. I think it's 0.88 actually. In which case you would be able to get a waiver from the FAA if you have prop guards on it and if you're using a couple other things. We have a video somewhere where we talk about this. This is kind of a new thing-ish, like started last year, and we'd be able to, yeah. But yeah, otherwise, no, you can't just say that people are part of the mission to fly over them. Timothy says, I am seeing many locations ban flying over their property. Yeah, they can't do that. It seems some model legislation would help those organizations know the rules. Do you know of any model legislation effort? I don't know what model legislation means in this case, but the FAA has a document that highlights the things that municipalities and various places are allowed to do and not allowed to do. And so I would share that document. I don't know if we have a shortcut to it that Jason can share. Maybe Vic, I think Vic might be able to share that. It's kind of a letter from the FAA stating some basic things. That's what I would share with them. Excuse me. Locations, typically anyone cannot restrict airspace access, period. So what is a good thing to look for immediately when buying a used drones? A fault that the DJI app won't detect. I mean, look at the overall look of the aircraft, I would say. Take a look at, the propellers. Or do they have dings in them? Do the propellers kind of rotate correctly? How does the battery fit in the compartment? Is it bloated? The battery bloating is probably one of the biggest issue. If it doesn't fit nicely in there, then you're going to have issues with that battery. Turn it on, see if everything comes up. Look at, oh, excuse me. Look at the, now everybody's going to be yawning at home. Look at the battery count if you can find it. Depending on the app and depending on the drone, you might be able to find that information. And yeah, just overall ask question of the person that flew it. If it's been wrecked, you'll be able to find to find out, and just a few other things. So Leo says, has Pilot Institute done any testing of third-party sources for Mavic 2 and Mavic 2 Pro and Zoom batteries? It is becoming more difficult to find them in good condition. Yeah, that's a tough one. We have not tested batteries from third parties. I usually try to stay away from them because batteries can really mess up your flight. But at one point, you might be required to do that. That's a tough one. I would consider maybe, yeah, testing them for a while. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know how we would do that kind of testing, because usually battery testing is kind of a long-term kind of thing, to see how they hold with charges. We don't really fly the Mavic 2 anymore. But yeah, it sucks. Mark Adrian says, did anyone already do a security audit of DJI drones? Nope. It's crazy how Chinese company products like drones and routers don't get audited by IT YouTubers for content. No, there has not been the security audit that is required by December 23rd. That has not been done. I have not heard any rumors that it is being done at the moment, which tells me that it will not get done by December because it's already October. But yep, I don't know. Many of us have bought DJI drones on Amazon and did not buy Care Refresh. However, we purchased the Assyrian protection plan offered by Amazon. Interesting. Do you have any experience or information regarding how good that protection is for us? I do not. I typically don't buy the insurance stuff, the protection, because I don't know how I would keep track of it. That's the bottom line. But no, I don't know. That might be a good thing to ask in our forum, in our community, to see, what they're saying. But yeah. Nathan says, recent graduate, have you got to the Part 108 regulation yet? What should I put as a comment? I did get to the Part 108 regulation yet. We made 2 videos. One is 35 minutes. The other one is 30 minutes. And we explain everything. I would probably say that we're probably one of the leading expert in this regulation in the country at the moment, because we spend hundreds of hours on this thing going over. So yes, very familiar with that. And as far as what you should put in your comment, we have videos that explains what you should put in there. Go check it out in the channel. It's hard to miss it. If you type Part 108, you will see both of those videos pretty much at the top of the result page. Yeah. Richard says, if you dispose of one of your registered drone and someone else acquires it and attempts to register it, do you think the FAA would detect that 2 people own the same unit? No, I don't think they would do that. I don't think the system is set up to recognize duplicate registration numbers. So that's my guess, because I have never heard of it happening, and I bet you it does not. Matt says, I'm nervous to actually fly my drone. What advice do you have? It's a DJI Mini 4K. Yeah, I think everybody's nervous at first, because I know I was when I first got my DJI Phantom 1 was my first drone. It is nerve-wracking. I think you just get used to it after a while. Fly close at first, fly over an area where if you think something's going to happen, then it can be. I used to live next to a golf course, an abandoned golf course, for a while. And so I flew on that golf course for a long time, because it was a great place to fly, very open. I could just really manipulate the drone. It was fun. So find your own little place where, you can do all of that. But at the end of the day, these drones are very reliable. The Mini, especially the DJI Mini, there's not a whole lot that can happen as it's just flying around, unless you hit something with it. But otherwise, it's not going to fall out of the sky. Yeah. What else? Any other question? We got 5 minutes left. Thomas says I'm yawning now. I'm sorry. That's what happens after a while. If I haven't spoken, which I didn't really speak much today in the office, when I get on camera and I start speaking, I tend to yawn, especially at the end of the day. Yeah, good stuff. How do I connect with people in the United States who can use drone service related to tourism, who can possibly lend me a gig? What is the best way to find them? Good question. People in the US who can use, I mean, that's going to be up to you to kind of sell yourself, to other people. Um, the best way is advertising. There's a lot of different ways of doing that. It's, yeah, it's a long answer. Anthony says, "What did you have for dinner?" It's only 5 o'clock here, so I have not had dinner yet. I'm not that old. I bet you Vic had dinner at 5. Sorry, Vic. uh, yeah, no, it's still very early when we do these things. I eat dinner usually at 7. Anyways, I don't think my dinner habits are. Oh yeah, the coffee mug. Thank you. Somebody's saying promote the coffee mug. I don't have it with me, but we do have a coffee mug available for sale. Jason's will put a link somewhere in the description. Oh, you have it. Were you hiding my mug? Oh, is that the that's the prototype. The prototype is only a left-handed mug because you can see the logo here, but you can't see it here. The new mug has a logo on both sides. It's a left-handed and a right-handed mug. But yeah, it looks just like this. It's fully engraved. It keeps the temperature. It has a lid that comes with it too. And it's 12 ounces. I don't know what else you can say about a mug, but it's pretty cool. I like it. I have it on my desk. I use it every day, and it keeps the temperature for a very long time. Actually, I did a test one day, put hot water in there, and then that was at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And when I left at 6 p.m., at 5 p.m., it was still hot in the mug. So that's all I can say. It works really well. Needs to be pink. They don't make these in pink. We try to find a provider that has them in pink. And the pink is really difficult to secure a good quality pink, like our color pink, not something that looks like hot. I don't even know how to describe it, but our pink is a nice pink. I don't want like a washed out pink. If that makes sense. Anyway, it's hard to find. Ours is more like a magenta actually than a pink. But yes, they're 12 ounces for the question. Passed my 107, says Nakuma. Awesome. 97. Woo, that's cool. Practice exams were more difficult than the test. That's what I like to hear. Actually, we we train you so that on race day you're doing good. I used to train for marathons a lot, and I was always tell people train hard, race easy. So you train the difficult way, so when you show up, then it's nice and easy. Not that marathon is easy, but I know Hydroflex has pink. Okay, awesome. Get my stickers. Cool. We get some stickers. We get some new stickers that I think we're going to put on the website for a very, very small fee. We're adding a bunch of them. We'll do like a sticker package that we can get to people. Will be a few bucks. And then if you want to get some more stickers that are drone related, we'll have those available very soon. We're checking all the designs right now internally. All right, 2 more minutes. I see more questions popped up. Flying my drone for my business. How steady is the Mini compared to the Air? I have the Air 2S. I currently blah, 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 and it does great in high wind, but buying the Air 3S is currently not viable. Yeah, the Mini is not, I think, as good because it's much more lightweight in the wind, but yeah. I guess it depends on where you live. If you live in an area that's windy, like Chicago, then I would probably go with an Air over a Mini. But yeah. Are you saying that I cannot fly my drone in my neighborhood to do some maneuvers? No, you can. Absolutely. Just don't fly over people's, backyards, and just be mindful. Huh? Swimming pools. Yeah, all those things. Sorry, Greg, I called you Tim. No worries. I've been called worse in the office by Ben.
Your face.
Well, not to my face. I hear it afterwards in the cameras. I have filters. Past the Pi 107 with 97. I mentioned that already. Awesome. One more. If you're in a 50-foot grid with Lance approval, but you want to launch from a structure and stay above the structure already at 50 feet, do you need approval? Yes, the approval that you get by Lance is AGL only. It does not apply on top of a structure. So if this is a structure right here and that's 50 foot tall, then you cannot fly any higher than the structure because you can only be AGL, above ground level. Good question. Okay. Some of the comments. Okay, next. That's it. It's 5 o'clock. On the dot. Thank you for watching. What else do we have? We have, yeah, I have a whole week of working on my project. I'm excited about this. No interruption, no traveling. Whew, it's fun. And then we have Friday news update as always. So we'll see you there. Submit your comment. This is the last time I'm going to say this for part 108. Go check out the video. Craft your comment. Submit it before 11:59 p.m. Eastern time today. This is it. That's the deadline. After that, we have to wait until the FAA gets to it. And yeah, if the government ever reopens. So if not, we'll never have part 108. We'll see. Time will tell. All right, folks. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. And don't be that guy. Fly safe.